First of all, thank you. Thank you for doing this movie and for blowing me away. Because, frankly, I had no expectations and I was blown away by it.
That's generally where I like to start, with no expectations whatsoever.
I didn't expect tears of joy, which happened multiple times.
Oh, come on, for real?
Really?
Oh, you're making my heart swell. Thank you.
How exactly did you approach the project? And did you think it is like your one shot and you were trying to give fans everything possible under the sun?
Oh, for sure. Making this movie really was a dream come true for me, just because of what Masters meant to me. It was a huge deal. It meant so much to me when I was a kid. And, to be here 40 years later and to be able to tell this story, it's been just a fantastic experience. And I approach all of these things, everything I've ever done, I approach it as if I only get one opportunity to tell this story. Now, Masters as a world of characters, it's so vast, there's so much mythology. And so there's so many different choices you can make in telling a Masters story. But for me, it really was about honoring what the 8-year-old version of myself would have loved. I wanted to make the movie that he would have loved.
That's what I was getting out of it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad, because that's really what I try to do. Of course, then you have experience on top of that, so hopefully you bring some layers to it. But no, I put absolutely everything I could into the movie. I gave so much of myself to the movie because of what it meant to me. There were some things that, I tried to overstuff it at some point. You got to pull back, because I just realized at some point you're just being an irresponsible fanboy. But no, I'm really, really pleased with the way it came together. The film has so much heart and joy, and it's such a kind of a fun time at the cinema, and that's really what I hope to do.
Yes, I can definitely say that is true. It is chock full of characters on both sides of good and evil, right? So was there anyone that was off limits or you wanted to put in but for any reason couldn't, like for example time constraints or rights constraints or whatever?
There was really nobody that I couldn't. I was Mattel, Amazon, they were incredibly generous in saying, like, you have this whole buffet of characters you can choose from. I wanted to put every single character that I loved when I was a kid, all my favorites in the movie. And then we also drew from, different sources. We took obscure characters from, like, the newspaper strip from, the '87 live action movie. We wanted to honor all the iterations of Masters over the years. The one character that I really, really wanted to get in the movie and just couldn't find a way to do it just because of the time and budget and everything else was Merman. He was one of the OG He-Man characters, one of the villains, and I loved him. And I had imagined like this whole sequence that takes place in the water with Merman, and it was going to be awesome. And it was like, no, we can't do that. At some point, you have to throttle back and recognize you need to tell a focused story, which is in the end what we did. But if we're to be so lucky to tell more of these stories, there's so much more we could do.
Is there an Easter egg you think people will not find at the first watch?
I'm sorry, say it again?
An Easter egg that people will not find while the first viewing.
I mean, the film is jam-packed with Easter eggs, so I'm sure that there are some things that people are going to miss. That said, I feel like we wanted to make sure that we crafted a movie that would be satisfying for fans, for people like me who've loved the thing their entire life, and also for people who don't know anything about it. And I'm pleased that we struck that balance. So, people who don't know anything about He-Man will enjoy the ride, but people who are fans, they will have a different kind of experience. They'll have a layered experience because there are so many nods throughout the entire movie.
Let's close with a lightning round. So say one word or so that pops into your mind when I say something. Orko.
Orko?
Orko, yeah.
Nothing springs to mind.
Hordak and the Horde.
Badass.
Snake Man, Cobra Khan, King Hiss.
Oh my God! Look at you pulling all these things out. Sequel, I will say.
Okay. Brian May and Queen.
Legendary.
Sequel when?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. People need to go see this movie first. So, hopefully within a few years, if people dig this thing.
Very quickly, what's your opinion on the various animated shows that came before? Like, what is your favorite there? Is it the OG or is there any sort of special one?
It's definitely the OG. I only have kind of peripheral awareness of the other cartoons just because, by the time they did the 90s one, I was too old to have been into that one. And the stuff they've done in the 2000s, kind of similarly, it's just like it wasn't my vibe. So I always go back, anytime I'm involved in something like this, I go back to the origin and go back to the source. And for me, it started with the Filmation series. That was the thing that I think kicked off He-Man in the biggest possible way. That was when He-Man was really this cultural phenomenon. And I think it was because it was so unusual, it was so unique. And so I definitely wanted to tap into that. I think everything since then has been some kind of an adaptation of that origin thing. And so it was important for us to go back to the source, the beginning, and tell our movie based on that as opposed to the things that have come since then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.